Hello, my friends, your old pal Jordan the Lion. Happy 800th vlog. That's right. Somehow together we have made a vlog for 800 days in a row without taking a break. Wow. Thank you all for watching. No vlog today. That was all I wanted to say. I'm kidding. We have a great one. So actually, this is going to be a really good day because my sister's coming up. We're going to watch the Ohio State football game. And then I found something really great here in Ohio. It's a vlog for the 800th vlog. I'm not going to tell you what it is till we get there, but you'll love it. Daze with Jordan the Lion begins now. And that means 800 days of loving this guy. That's right. Ja, over the last 800 days, you have developed quite a fan base. Well, Tara's here. She's cutting up the pork because my grandpa made my favorite meal, that pork mashed potatoes and sauerkraut.
Can't let any of it go to waste.
Hi.
You're being wasteful.
I know.
Yeah, I need every last bit of that pork accounted for. I just found downstairs my grandpa's some of my favorite pop. The Bart's Red Cream. This hasn't been the greatest game, but we just saw a one-handed catch, so that was pretty awesome. Alright, Buckeyes won, so let's head out of here. Well, gang, we have arrived. This is what we're gonna do for Vlog 800. The Armstrong Air and Space Museum. Named and dedicated after Neil Armstrong. The man who first stepped on the moon. Though, some don't believe that. Let's go explore the museum. I am really excited to see this. I read online that we are going to, inside here, get to see one of the two actual NASA spacesuits of Neil Armstrong. We're gonna get to see a piece of the moon, as well as many other things. Let's do this. This museum was named to honor Neil Armstrong and includes items that he and his parents donated to the exhibits. Mr. Armstrong is not involved in the management of the museum. Well, I think he's passed away now, but right after he walked on the moon, they built this museum. It says the Neil Armstrong Air and Space Museum, dedicated to Neil A. Armstrong, first man on the moon, and to all Ohioans who dared to defy gravity. That's pretty cool. There's his membership to the American Rocket Society. That is a painting of Neil Armstrong at the age of 6 with his father when he made his first flight, and they actually have that plane here, I believe. That's pretty cool. And then some of his personal items, his savings bank and things like that. That's his Boy Scout patrol flag, and you can see his name right there. And then that is his lunchbox from first grade. Now this is a great case that has Neil's flight jacket and then his Navy uniform as well. He was a fighter pilot. And there's his accommodation from the US Navy. And then that is a model of the fighter jet that Neil flew in Korea. I'm guessing they show a little movie here. That's Neil in front of the TV. The space race. Now they also have some of the actual flight history of just Ohio. So there's some John Glenn stuff in here. There's some Wright Brothers stuff, but we're mainly here to see the Neil Armstrong stuff. Oh, there it is. That's the airplane. That's the first airplane he ever flew. Now this case is Neil's stuff. Now this case is full of the memorabilia that Neil had kept from his early flights when he learned to fly in the Aeronautica Champion. He had to perform many training missions in order to prepare himself for the upcoming space flight. So here's various books and maps. You can see there, I fly at Port Cannetta. his engine logs.
Selected Armstrong,
Pretty cool.
the second group of American astronauts, proud to make the first docking of two vehicles in space. On March 16, 1966, NASA launched the Agena rocket target vehicle into orbit.
Now there's Neil's bicycle from when he was a kid, but they said he abandoned it pretty early to start his interest in flying, and it said he learned to fly in this Aeronca 7AC Champion in 1946. He took lessons in Auglaize County flying field near Wapakoneta, which is where we are now. He actually was raised right outside this city. How cool is that? Let's flip it around. Hope you don't get motion sick. That is pretty rad.
Armstrong made his first flight at the age of
Now they say that his very first flight when he was 6, his dad had him play hooky from school so that they could go out flying together. Look at this US capsule. That is rad. Now here is a little model of the Gemini. Now it says that Neil earned an aeronautical engineering degree at Purdue, and he went on to work at NASA's Lewis Laboratory in Cleveland. And then he went to Edwards Air Force Base and became a test pilot. And here's his test pilot boots and his test pilot parachute. And they said that he flew 2 important planes, the X-15 and the F-5D Skylancer. And both of those had technology that they ended up incorporating into the space flights. You can see up there it says explosive device. There's a picture of Neil performing his training missions for the upcoming space flight. And then it says, John Glenn and Neil Armstrong here, learning to live off the land in preparation for emergency Earth landing. Now this is actually Neil's machete from when he was learning survival training in Panama. Wow, that's pretty interesting. And then look at that photo. That's during the training process. So this is the first crew of astronauts that were selected, and it says that NASA had changed its criteria by lowering the age limit to 35 and raising the height limit to 6 feet and allowing civilians who met those requirements to apply. And so in 1962, Neil Armstrong became one of the first of 2 civilians chosen in the second group of astronauts. So this would be the first and second group together, and there's Neil right up there. Now we saw the model of the Gemini. Now this is the actual Gemini. Look at that. Wow, that is pretty cool. So basically, those are the 2 seats you can see right here. And then this was on loan by the Smithsonian. So I guess we're pretty lucky to get to see this without traveling all the way there. Control panels. Wow, that's pretty cool. Now in this case it says it's Gemini 8 heat shields and thruster section. So you can see in here, there's a little heat shield inside there. And it's even dated. It says first docking in space by Neil Armstrong. And then there's the thruster that he used. This was Gemini, I believe it was in March of 1966. I think I saw over there. Neil Armstrong was the command pilot. And David Scott, whose name is on all of this stuff, was the co-pilot. Now that's a model of the Titan rocket that sent Neil on what they call his wild ride. It was 90 feet tall, 2 stages, and the thrust was 530,000 pounds. Now check that out. That's one of the two spacesuits that he was issued from NASA. I think the other one is in the Smithsonian. But let's get real close because they have the helmet, the boots, and the suit, everything. You can really see what it looks like. Man, just think of all those hoses and things that would have been attached to this at one point. All those right in there. You don't find cuffs like that. Metal cuffs with a zipper. And then, oh my gosh, I can't believe what I just saw. I guess it makes sense. A zippered pee-pee hole. And then, let's keep going down. You can see the boots. Those boots actually aren't too different than what I'm wearing right now. Oh man. And then his gloves and helmet. Man, that is cool. Personally, I do believe in the moon landing, and so I think this is so cool to get to see. And I thought, you know, for 800th vlog, what could be more appropriate than to get to see something completely monumental and something that, you know, the very first time. Now you have like billionaires paying to take private flights up to the outer space, and it's unreal to think of the technology that has happened in our lifetimes. Now this is kind of cool. They have a docking simulator. So you can watch the screen, and then you have some and check out this award. It says from the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, Gemini spacecraft number 8, 6th revolution flight on 16th of March 1966. Astronauts Neil A. Armstrong and David R. Scott. World's first docking with another satellite in orbit. Designed by NASA. Now they said after 10 Gemini space flights, they decided that they were ready to try and send one to the moon. There's a model. Check that out. And then over here they have a memorial to the human tragedy of Apollo 1, including, it says, the hand mold that was used to construct a customized Apollo spacesuit for Edward White. And there you can see the funeral procession for the astronauts who passed. Grissom, White, and Chaffee. Now it said that the Apollo 8 crew, when they landed, read from the book of Genesis on Christmas Eve. Now here's some very, very, very old military rations that they took. You can see it says food sticks. This one right here is coffee. Cream of tomato soup. This little cube thing right here is pineapple fruit cake. This very good looking brick right here is tuna salad. Wow. Now this was the flag. It says that they carried aboard Apollo 11's mission. Wow, this is a cool little setup. Landing on the moon. Here's the thrust translator controller and the docking hatch. And then there's a picture of all the astronauts with President Nixon. Look at this painting. In the painting, he's got the camera mounted on his chest. That's what we call an early version of the GoPro. Now here's a bust of Neil. There it says, after 5 hours of rest, Armstrong and Aldrin began their exploration on the moon. Neil Armstrong became the first man to step onto the moon's surface. So in this picture it says when Apollo 11 crew splashed down on July 24th, their mission wasn't complete. Scientists were concerned that the Apollo 11 crew would bring back deadly microscopic organisms from the moon, so they were quarantined for 20 days. Here's a case full of some of his awards and accommodations, including at the very top, the Wings of Man Award, right there, and the Betsy Ross Award, which is what those flags are. Alright, we saw Neil's Gemini spacesuit. Now we get to see the Apollo spacesuit for Neil. Wow. It even looks much different. Much different than the original, or the first one that he used in '66. So this one would have been obviously in 1969, right? It says this was his backup suit. It weighs 190 pounds on Earth, but only 32 pounds on the moon. And they got a different P flap there. That is pretty cool. Man, I'm so glad we came today. Oh yeah, I was really excited to get to see this. What they call at NASA the lunar sample, but what we know as the moon rock. This is the one they brought back from Apollo 11. Kind of pinched in between some sort of padding in there, you can tell. But how cool is that? Actual piece of the moon. So, you know, I guess it's not so weird when I'm grabbing bricks from James Dean's high school now. It says it was collected in July of 1969 by Neil Armstrong and Edward E. Aldrin Jr., also known as Buzz. It is composed of fragments from the moon's original crust, which is over 4 billion years old. Scientists call this type of rock vesicular basalt. That is neat. And then here are the Westinghouse cameras that they took. It says, actually this one is, these are not replicas, but they are, it says, they're like the ones Neil took when he first stepped on the moon. And then here are some of the sample bags they put the moon rock in. And then they had some, of course, monitors and things like that, but they said they used this this binocular or monocular, I guess you'd call it, when they were looking at things on the moon. Now check out this room. They have a mirrored room in here that makes you feel like you're on the moon. Or like you're in outer space. How cool is that? I love this. Oh, what fun.
Armstrong took photographs and collected surface samples based on his geological training in Arizona, while Buzz set up 3 scientific experiments. The cosmic experiment would measure moonquakes, if any, and meteorite impacts.
In the photograph, Buzz Aldrin is collecting a core sample.
The experiments were not complicated. The real mission was simply to land and return safely.
Well, there's Neil's Boy Scout Eagle Scout Award. There's a picture of the family farm. And then there's like a wood etching of the first three. Oh, that's a great painting. I love that. It's kind of done the way Van Gogh used to do his stuff with the globs of paint. I love that style. So this orange suit is a launch entry suit, and it's something that they have to put on when they're coming back into space in case they should have to abort or jump out or anything. It's atmosphere protected. Well, we've made it through the museum and now we're headed to the gift shop to exit. And what a fun gift shop, huh? I mean, it's probably mostly for kids, but you can buy your own space helmet here if you need to, or a little rocket scientist jacket or flight suit or whatever you need. Even NASA jackets, replica boots, backpacks. Well, I was totally gonna buy a shirt and support the place, but they said this is all they have left because they thought they were gonna change their logo and then they decided not to, so they didn't order any new shirts. So all they have are smalls. These are kind of cool though, right? First man on the moon snow globes. Maybe I'll get one of those tiny ones. Well, I'll definitely pick up some Patreon postcards while I'm here then. Gotta do that. Oh yeah, I gotta get this one. Wish You Were Here. Actually, I'll get a couple of those. That's awesome. And this is one of my all-time favorite candies that my mom makes. People are always asking what a recipe is for it, and here they actually have a postcard with the recipe, so I'm gonna get a couple of these as well. If I thought I could get it home safely, I'd definitely buy one of these mugs. Here you can buy replicas of the local newspaper when Neil did it. His parents on the cover. So as I was leaving, they said that they have all of their visitors put a pin where they're from. And you could see a lot from Europe. Actually, pretty much everywhere. So I went ahead and put mine in. That yellow one right there is mine. Well, on our way out, I noticed over here, off to the side, they have a little replica of the, well, not little, but a big one, replica of the Apollo command module. Well, we're gonna call it a day. Thank you for 800 days of viewing and hopefully to 800 more. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you all later. Have a great night and goodbye from Ohio.